Hi, happy holidays! Today I'd like to share my review of the Koyudo Mizumezakura or Cherry Birch series with you. To be honest, the series has never piqued my interest because the handles looked so boring on the website. I did decide to take a chance and was pleasantly surprised. The wood on the handles are super smooth, and even though they don't have the lacquer finishing on it, they still feel very nice. I also love that Koyudo is engraved onto the handles instead of lasered on like a lot of brushes nowadays. Here's the lasering, here's the engraving. It's very nice and smooth. The wood is just so pretty to touch. And I'm surprised by how soft these are because all of the Koyudo Seikoho brushes I've tried in the past haven't been soft enough for me. If the Koyudo White Mushroom, Fude, and Seikoho from the BP line are too rough for you, these are softer and should be better. Okay, so my camera is having some focusing issues today. Let's see if it works this time around. I'll start with the medium eyeshadow brush. And here is how it looks up close. Okay, so the closest brush I have, or the closest brushes I have, are the Koyudo C11 in the middle and the MAC 219 on the right. The C11 is smaller and thinner. The hairs are the same softness, and the Cherry Birch one has more volume overall and is less flexible than the C11. So here's the Cherry Birch. Not very flexible. Only has a little bit of flexibility, more resistance than anything. Here is the C11. Oops, I'm on low battery. Okay, you can see that. And then here's the MAC 219. So it's a tad larger than the 219 and it has softer hairs, and the 219 does have more resistance. The Koyudo can be used for the outer V, lower lash line, and inner corners, and whatever you want to use it for, but I used it for those three. It's alright for applying color to the outer V. It applies the color but has a tendency to not blend very well, so you're going to have to go in with a second brush to blend. And it's a cute brush. I don't mind keeping in my collection, but yeah, like it's you know, I think it was like under $20 or something, so it's not going to break the bank, and it's nice, but it's not a must-have for me. So next we will go to the large pencil brush, which is one, or the large eyeshadow brush is on the left right here. And just for comparison purposes, I took out the Chikuhodo Takumi T8 to show you if my camera will focus. It does not like me today. Okay, but yeah, this is the one in the middle is the T8. So the T8 is in between the sizes of the large and the medium. The large is on the left, medium's on the right, like perfect medium size. And both Koyudo brushes are more firmly glued into the ferrule. Like the bottom half of both Koyudo brushes are firmer than the T8. So the T8 has more flexibility, and it's about the same softness, with the Koyudo being a tad softer, which is really surprising to me. And the most similar brush to the large eyeshadow brush that I own is the Koyomo Nadeshiko Pink Pearl eyeshadow brush, the tapered one, which is my holy grail. Like, I love this for crease color. So the Koyudo hairs, let's see, the Koyudo on the right, the hairs are, or sorry, I keep thinking the Koyudo is on the right, the Koyudo is on the left. The Koyudo hairs are a little longer. It's more tapered and has way more resistance than the Koyomo. And I'm not sure if I showed you the large brush, but here's a close-up. A very pretty brush. Okay, so the Koyomo has almost no resistance when I push it down. So here's the Koyomo. Focus. It's like very flexible, and then the Koyudo, you can see it's way firmer. And it is softer. The Koyomo is softer than the Koyudo, but not by a large margin. And also the Koyomo, the one thing that bugs me about this brush is they didn't put enough hair in the ferrule. So when, gosh, please focus, okay. So when I go like this and like push the hair to the side, you can see there's some space right here, like they didn't put enough hair. Anyways, the Koyudo, okay, Koyomo and Koyudo, like the Koyudo doesn't do that. They put enough hair or they put enough glue, whatever it is. So I was honestly really excited for the large brush. I think this was the one brush I was most excited for in the entire series. I did use it for the, please focus, okay. I did use it for the crease color, and I thought it would apply actually the same as the Koyomo because the specs were about the same, but it doesn't blend nicely, so you'll have to go in with another blending brush, just like with the medium brush. It does apply color in a sheer to natural finish, and so it's good for people who like natural looks or who tend to pack on too much pigment at once. I'm guilty of the latter, so I've come to appreciate this brush, but you know, it's still not my favorite. If you know, on a typical basis, I would much prefer the Koyomo on the right because I'm always in a rush. So if I want to do my makeup as quick as possible, then I'll take the Koyomo because it blends a lot better. So both the medium and large Koyudo brushes, the cherry birch brushes, I haven't filmed in a while, so this is what happens, you can't talk. Okay, they're more voluminous and tapered than the other brushes that I've compared them to. So yeah, they are very pretty brushes, but not a necessity in my book. Okay, next up is the blush brush. So the blush brush is round shaped. Ferrule is completely round. Here's the top. The hairs are 31 centimeters, which is 1 centimeter longer than the Hakuhodo J210 and the Wayne-Goss 13. It's about the same softness as the J210, with the, I think the tea-dyed version of the Wayne-Goss 13 right here on the right being softer. So keep in mind that I keep the Wayne-Goss 13 in a brush guard, which is why it's not as fluffy looking as the Koyudo. And the head is dense, but there's still some airiness to it, like here. And the resistance, I would say, is about 70%, like, you know, it's still got a good amount of firmness to it as well. All of the Koyudo brushes that I'm showing you today, or the ones from the Cherry Birch series, like, they've all got a good amount of density and resistance. I actually don't have the best track record with this shape or this type of blush brush, but I was hoping that the fourth time would be a charm, and that didn't happen for me, unlike with the J210 and the Wayne-Goss brushes that over diffuse blush. The Koyudo will just apply the blush in the spot you put it on and not blend that well. Like, maybe it's my products, I'm not sure, but based on how I've tested it and what I've used them with, it just didn't blend that well for me. So I'm not a fan of it for blush, but you know, like with all the other brushes, or the blush brushes of this shape that I've tried, I think it works better for setting powder for me, which is what I use the Wayne-Goss for. And lastly, we have the powder brush, which is quite a beauty. She's so pretty. Okay, so the powder brush is like basically a larger version of the blush brush. It's also round shaped. And here. Mine, so my powder and blush brushes aren't perfectly bundled. They're not like perfectly symmetrical, but that does not affect the performance of the powder brush. But yeah, you already know how I feel about the blush brush. So the powder brush is dense, and you know, the resistance is about the same as the blush brush. It's like very nice when you sweep it across your face, go in circular motions. Like it's just I think it's a nice brush. So the one issue I had with it so far is that it sheds a lot. Like it shed a couple hairs already, and I don't know, just I don't like it when brushes shed more than like 5 in the beginning. Hopefully it stops shedding. So the hairs are 38 centimeters long, which is 1 centimeter longer than the Fude. And the ferrule base is 21 centimeters as opposed to the 28 centimeters of the Fude. So I have the limited edition pink magenta Fude on the right to show you to compare it to. Let's see if you can tell. The ferrule of the Koyudo on the left is a little bit smaller. And if I show you at the top, it's very hard to tell like on camera, but the Koyudo is smaller. And let's see if I can, yeah. So it's softer than the Fude. And I think in terms of like, you know, density, since the Fude has like a wider ferrule, obviously it has more hair, it's got more, so it's denser and everything, but I think the Koyudo, it has a little bit more flexibility since the hairs, yeah, the hairs they just seem they seem more loosely bundled than the Fude, if that makes sense. So if your face hurts after using the Fude, it will not with this cherry birch brush, the powder one. I think it applies powder smoothly and won't over apply your makeup or make it cakey unless you apply like a gazillion layers. So yeah, and I personally wouldn't use this for finishing powder as the hairs are too short for my liking. The Hakuhodo J104 is better suited for finishing powder if you want a goat brush for that purpose. I'm glad I finally picked up this brush because it exceeded my expectations, and I'm finally glad to be able to try the whole Cherry Birch series. I do recommend this powder brush if you're looking for a starter Fude powder brush, or if you love powder brushes in general. Like I'm just a really big fan of the handles, and I did neglect this series for like two years. I don't know, I think it's been out for like 2 years, but yeah, it was nice to try. So overall, I am really enjoying the large eyeshadow brush and the powder brushes, these two. So yeah, if you want to try them out, then I would recommend the powder brush first over the large eyeshadow brush. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.